Hello everybody. Following on from yesterday, on the introductory visit that I did yesterday, I'm doing this short video down in front of the refuge. It's very hot, very, very hot. Hence, I've had to learn to wear a hat or I lose what little hair I've got left. So I hope you understand that. If you listened to me yesterday, you may take the view that I'm utterly compliant and I respect and observe the law. But I want to add to that a little because it's not quite as simple as it seems. During my life in the UK, from being a very young woman to leaving the UK, I was involved in many campaigns. And those are all being chronicled in the book that I'm writing at the moment. The things that I was involved in to try and change social attitudes in the UK towards, firstly, women, towards people of a different ethnicity, and so on, disability. It was all there, and at the time I was at the forefront. Now you can do that in your own country because you know the parameters. And in the UK, we know that we have freedom of association, we can demonstrate, we know how far to go to prevent ourselves being thrown into jail. Because once you're in jail, you're not a lot of good to anyone. But once you come to work in another country, you can't do that. You really, really can't. And those foreign nationals that come here and try to operate that way and tell everyone out there that they're changing things because they're fighters is counterproductive for this reason. Because the culture here, the laws are very different. The freedom of association isn't as free as it is in the UK and in other parts of the Western world and in places like Australia, New Zealand and so on. And if you're a foreign national, even if you have residency like I do and you live here, if you persist in not complying with the legal process, ultimately the state will have the upper hand and you'll find yourself being deported or not allowed back into the country once you leave. That happens quite frequently, and then you're no good to anyone. I mean, having said that, I'm very conscious of people who feel that that has to be done and it's the right approach. And in doing so, they do garner a lot of social media support. So when the time comes for deportation or whatever, or the police intervene, there is an international outcry. Everyone is writing to their own ambassadors or consulates and so on, and it creates a storm. But ultimately, that won't change anything. It starts to put Morocco in an even worse image than it has already. And I feel quite strongly about that. So what I'm going to do today is link in my thinking and as I talk to you, the rules here in Morocco that apply to charities which are fundamentally the same the world over. Number one, if you're going to start a charity, and I put those in simple terms, you have to go through certain processes. You have to be recognized, you have to be accountable. That is important for a very, very good reason. We registered in the UK, our charitable trust there, and we had a few hoops to jump. We had to sort of make our application several times to the Charity Commission, but we succeeded. And of course, any money that we bring into the UK for the charitable work here is accountable and it's regulated by the Charity Commission. The accounts have to go into the Charity Commission every year and everything is accounted for. Now, there is something similar here in Morocco and people aren't altogether aware of it. There is a section of the Dair, the law relating to associations, And if I'm asked, I can give you the specific quote from that law and where it can be found. But in simple terms, it says this, that if you're operating an association here and you're bringing money into the country, you have to declare that to the government at the end of every month. That's what we do. We declare it along with our accounts for the month and our bank statement. And people might say, gosh, you're falling overboard to actually comply with them. Well, we have to, it's the law. But secondly, it's there for a very good reason. And the reason is it prevents money laundering. Think for a moment how easy it would be for people following the stresses and strains of the pandemic when they're facing poverty, and you're maybe Moroccan and you're living here, and you see us who seem to be functioning quite well, and from the outside it doesn't appear that we're not able to survive. You may think, gosh, that's an easy way to go. Get me a field, I'll put some bamboo shelters up, I'll start taking animals in, and I'll ask for donations. And quite frankly, if you examine a lot of those establishments, you find the donations, a lot of them are going into the back pocket to keep the people who are running the charity. And Morocco needs to know the money that's coming in from abroad. We are still a closed currency here. It is quite difficult to bring money into Morocco, but we've quite cracked that. We bring it from a charity account in the UK. We use a very good organisation, TransferWise, they now call themselves Wise, straight into the Moroccan account, and that is all disclosed. It's not that we are being oppressive in any way, but it is so important. And over the next few videos that I do, I'll begin to examine how really some of the major charities in the UK have become not viable because they've grown in such a way that their overheads are so high, they're now suffering with a cost of living crisis. And quite frankly, that's important here in Morocco, because if I'm registered here in Morocco and I can't bring enough money in to run my charity, that is accountable and it would have to close. And quite frankly, that is quite important, because if you can't look after these animals to a high standard, you shouldn't be doing it at all. You should be leaving it to the people who can. It's also quite problematic for people sending money into charities when they think they're legitimate. And I will touch on in another episode on how you can tell whether charity is legitimate or not. Because if you're paying donations in good faith, and you're paying it into a private account and not a charitable account, or you're paying it into a private PayPal and not a charitable PayPal, firstly, you can't get tax relief, and secondly, you have no guarantee as to where your money is going. If you have donated to us in the last year, when our accounts are completed and up in the Charity Commission website, which hopefully will be around August, you can see exactly how much money it's come in, with a guarantee that we have been able to provide the accountants with evidence of where every donation has come from. That protects you, and it protects the people running the charities, and it protects those that they are caring for. So I've just begun to touch on the issues with a little bit of direction as to how we're going in the future. So do bear with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll speak again soon.